All right, what's up, everybody? A very happy Monday on a very, very, very busy news day. Yes, we are covering what is going on in D.C. right now, what happened on Friday with the meeting with Vladimir Putin, which I thought was an embarrassment to the United States of America. What happened was exactly what I told you was going to happen. What did I tell you? Well, that Trump would give in to Putin, to his demands, and then they'll make Zelensky out to be the bad guy. Well, right now, all the leaders in NATO, all of them, for the most part, are meeting with Zelensky and Donald Trump. And what is Donald Trump trying to convince Zelensky to give up Crimea, to give up land in Ukraine, and to make sure that Ukraine never joins NATO? That's exactly what Donald Trump is trying to convince Volodymyr Zelensky to do. It's an embarrassment. It's a joke. It's disgusting. We know who invaded Ukraine. Vladimir Putin's decision to do so. So many innocent women and children and so many soldiers have lost their lives because of Vladimir Putin's behavior and actions. And Donald Trump invites him on American soil and kisses his ass. Make no mistake about it. That's exactly what happened here. And right now, Donald Trump is trying to convince these world leaders in NATO. Right now, Donald Trump is trying to convince Zelensky to give up land. He's trying to convince Zelensky to give up land because Vladimir Putin invaded his country. It's despicable. It's disgusting. There were even points in this meeting and the press conference earlier today, which happened not that long ago, where Donald Trump was joking about if there's a war, there'll be no elections. I like that idea. Don't be surprised in 3 years from now if Donald Trump gets us in an ill-advised war so he could remain president for a third term. I'm not putting that possibility out there and saying that that can't happen, because I believe it can. And I'm going to do something that I have not done in recent memory. I'm going to open up the phone lines early today because I want to get your thoughts, whether you're a Trump supporter or not. I want to hear from you, and I want to know from all of you, what do you think about this Putin-Trump meeting in Alaska on Friday? Do you agree with me that it was an absolute embarrassment for the United States? And do you also agree with me that they're trying to put pressure on Putin, and Trump has no idea what he's doing except kissing the tail of Vladimir Putin? So I'm opening up the phone lines now, and now is your opportunity to call in. Here is the number. It's area code 702-221-7283. And again, that number, if you want to be a part of the conversation, it is area code 702-221-SAVE. 702-221-7283. Again, that number one more time, 702-221-SAVE. I see these people on social media that watch this show. They're pro-Trump, but yet they're afraid to have a discussion with me, to debate, and to tell me why they think Trump deserves the Nobel Peace Prize. Tell me why you think Donald Trump is doing a great job. Tell me why you think this is going to work out in Washington, D.C. today, that Putin is going to call off the troops and Zelensky is going to wave the white flag and say, hey, you know what? All these people that lost their lives, they're not going to go down in vain. We'll give up Crimea. We'll reward Putin for invading our country. That's really what Donald Trump is asking. Am I wrong? That's really what Donald Trump is asking. Okay, so we're going to go to the phone lines now. And again, that number one more time, if you want to be a part of the program, that number is 702-221-7283. We do have 6 phone lines. And if the lines are busy, which usually they are, please keep trying, and we will try to get to every single call that we can. Okay? So we're going to get right to the phone lines right now at 702-221-7283. And again, that number, 702-221-7283. Let's start off with Matt. Hi, Matt. Thanks for calling in. What's on your mind?
Yeah, I talked to you about a week ago.
Okay.
And I was talking to you about Ukraine giving its nuclear weapons up.
Okay.
And we sent you my. Do you actually read your emails?
People on my staff do, and sometimes those emails do get relayed to me, and we try to get back to as many as possible. But what's on your mind today about this whole situation?
Well, first of all, Trump just made a fool of himself and the United States. But what I wanted to talk to you about is how Putin told him that we'll never have a fair election as long as we're allowed to mail in our ballots. So I did a little checking, and I Googled, did Putin allow mail-in? In 2020, Putin passed a law in Russia where they do mail-in ballots, and you can vote on the internet. But he talked Trump into, I think that's why Trump came out and did that post and went on a rant. He's basically just pro-Russian propaganda.
Well, yeah, that's been something, Matt, that I've been talking about for a very, very long time. And you're absolutely correct. And there are people out there that are Trump supporters that are welcome to call into this show that think that he deserves the Nobel Peace Prize. They think he's doing an absolute good job. There are people out there that think Donald Trump is going to end this war and he deserves all the praise for it when really he's done absolutely nothing since day one. This situation is worse off now than it was on day one. I don't think there's any question about that. And Zelensky's supposed to raise the white flag and say, hey, you know what? We'll give up land. No problem. We'll do that. It's insane. 702-221-7283 is the number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation. Let's go to Ken. Ken is next up on PTL. Hello, Ken.
Hello, sir. Could you ask the maggots why my flag is on Russian tanks now?
I did see that. That. It's terrible.
It's the most disgusting. What was the end date on their oath to the Constitution and not a tyrant pig like him?
I agree.
Have a good day, sir.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. It's funny how all the Trumpers on social media will talk all this smack, but when they have the opportunity to call into a live national show, they decide not to do it. I do find that very interesting because they can't defend Donald Trump. That's why I give them the opportunity to do that, but they can't do it. All right, let's go to Charles. Charles is next up on PTL. Hey, Charles, what's going on?
Hey, Brian. I got my hair cut yesterday, and unfortunately, my barber is an older lady who was a MAGA supporter. And I felt a little triggered at first, but I started feeling sorry for her when she started saying, yeah, you know, John F. Kennedy is going to make America healthy again. Because, I mean, they don't even have real fruit in Fruit Loops.
No, they don't.
And then she was, obviously. And then was saying that, yeah, and the Keebler elves, there are no elves making the cookies. They're fooling these people while literally Trump is welcoming Putin in and allowing our military to be seen in pictures on their hands and knees, rolling out a red carpet for Vladimir Putin.
Well, yeah, that's my point.
I just want to hear what the MAGAs have to say about that and how Trump is not Putin's bitch.
Yeah, well, you know, you're right. And based on quite frankly, all of Donald Trump's behavior, all of Donald Trump's actions, we have learned that Putin treats, Donald Trump like a puppet with strings, And I don't know what Putin has on Donald Trump, but he certainly has to have something on Donald Trump. I don't know what that is, but he has to have something on Donald Trump. And I find it interesting that all these people out there that have continued to support Donald Trump, that continue to have his back, think it's totally okay for a country to be invaded, our allies in Ukraine, to be invaded by an evil dictator. That's exactly who Vladimir Putin is. And now we're supposed to reward him for that? Are you kidding me? Number to call is 702-221-7283. Let's go to Grace. Grace is next up on PTL. Hi, Grace.
Hi, Brian. I have a question. I've been asking these questions for days, and I can't get an answer. If Putin is wanted by the International Crime Division or whatever for war crimes, why couldn't he be arrested when he stepped on U.S. soil?
Well, he could have. And I talked about that, to start the show. He could have. The problem.
Okay, here's the second question.
Yeah.
Why didn't he?
The best way I can answer that would have gotten us into a war with Russia. He certainly could have been arrested for war crimes. That would have been something that I would have given Donald Trump a lot of credit for, but that didn't happen. And what we've seen, at least based on what I've seen, is that Donald Trump seems to bend the knee to Vladimir Putin in every situation. How many deadlines has he put in place? Where have the concessions been? He's the one who's gone after, they've gone after Zelensky's outfit. Can you imagine if anybody in the Trump administration did that to Vladimir Putin? That would never happen.
I have a feeling if Putin had been arrested, the Russian people would have revolted because they're tired of being under Putin's thumb.
Yep.
So I don't think there would have been a world war. A war against the U.S. and Russia.
I'll tell you this: I would have rather have seen Vladimir Putin put in handcuffs than what's going on right now, where Putin flying back to Russia, running his oligarchy Kremlin, and Donald Trump continuing to bend the knee. And you know that's exactly what's happening. The good news is we have all these NATO leaders from other countries. You know they have Zelensky's back. That's what I do like about this situation. So if Trump and members of administration and J.D. Vance and Hegseth are going to be sitting there saying, you know, Zelensky, you got to give up Crimea. Zelensky, you'll never join NATO. Zelensky, you got to do this, this, and this. And if Zelensky says absolutely not, then I'm not sure Donald Trump is going to have any other alternative than to call in the troops.
Right.
I just don't think you can continue to side with Putin. And Zelensky's a tough guy. He's not going to give up here. He's not going to raise the white flag. I don't think this meeting is going to go very well for the Trump administration. Just like it went terrible for America on Friday, I think it's going to be bad for the Trump administration today.
Brian, you and I both know, and the world knows, there is only one reason that a U.S. president would bow to Vladimir Putin. He has something on Trump.
He has to, my dear. Good phone call. I agree with you. He has to. So if you are a Trump supporter out there on social media, I know you guys are out there, and you think Trump is doing a good job, and you think this thing is going to plan, and you disagree with me, then I'd love to hear from you. The number to call is 702-221-SAVE. 702-221-7283. 702-221-SAVE. All right, let's see here. Let's see, who are we going to next here? Let's go to Carlos. Carlos is next on PTL. Hi, Carlos.
Hey, how you doing, Brian?
Good.
This is Carlos. I just wanted to call and say I saw, I don't know if you read it on Joe Walsh, his Twitter feed, how he said that about Putin, and a lot of people were saying how that, it's Zelensky's fault that he's the one that started the war, and how Putin really wants to end it. And
well, that's not true.
So
that's not true. Anybody out there who thinks that Putin wants to end this war, you are very ill-informed. Every opportunity Putin has had to end this, and he refuses to do so. He demands to get something out of it. And even then, I don't think we can trust him. So, listen, obviously Zelensky very badly wants to end this war, but he doesn't want to give up land for it. You don't want to reward the evil dictator for it. And Trump seems to think that's totally okay.
Yeah, I know. I'm not agreeing with them at all. I think it's insane how MAGA actually believes Trump's lies. It's totally insane, right? And I think that I don't think Putin has anything on Trump. I just think it's like Trump has this crush on him, like a girl has a crush on this boy. I think that's because he wants to be, desperately wants to be a dictator.
I agree with you. I was just going to say that, my friend. There's no question that Donald Trump wants to be a dictator. I believe he's running an oligarchy right now. He admires people like Putin, and his actions continue to show that. And then you have the National Guard being deployed into D.C., which is an absolute embarrassment as well. Completely unnecessary. Putin is getting everything he wants. Number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation. If you are a MAGA supporter, I see some of you on social media, call in and tell me. Tell me why you are supporting this man and what is going on in Ukraine right now. Tell me how you can continue to support the United States, or in this case, Donald Trump, coddling to an evil dictator. Please explain to me how you're okay with that at 702-221-SAVE. Let's go to the UK now. Let's go to Paul. Paul is up next. Hey, Paul, what's going on?
Hi there, Brian. Hi. Thanks for taking the call. As you might remember, I've been following the Orange Moron for 10 years now with great fear. The question you posed at the beginning, it's a brilliant question, is what's he got on Trump? And I'll tell you my theory, and I think I'm quite confident about this. What he's got on Trump is that he has got the receipts, which of course he has, showing that he helped Trump and in fact probably pushed Trump into winning 2016. I believe that, can you imagine from Trump's point of view, if that was leaked out, that he didn't really win at all in 2016, and with the aid of Russia, he cheated? I believe that's what Putin's got, because it's in our face all the time, the evidence.
Yeah. I think that's plausible.
If Putin can prove it, and you know Putin can prove it, you know he can prove it if he did it, and leak it out there that Trump would not have won without his help. Can you imagine Trump? You have a humiliation for Trump.
Oh, I agree.
I
want to ask you, what if your president decided to roll out the red carpet for Vladimir Putin? How would that make you feel?
I'm telling you, Brian, if that happening, he would be hoiked out of number 10 by the people.
Yeah.
If he did a thing like that. We're already planning a reception for Trump when he visits in September. Mm-hmm. I'm already booked in. We're already planning a reception for Trump, like we gave to J.D. Vance, a much bigger, much more special for the numero uno. That's what's going to happen. And if he did anything like that, if our Prime Minister did this, Brian, he would be losing the next election no matter what he promised.
No, I agree. Listen, I was sickened on Friday for multiple different reasons. Number one, they rolled out the red carpet, and the respect that he showed for Putin is far more respect than he shows for many of our politicians here in the United States. That's number one. Number two,
yes,
we know that Putin is getting what he wanted. He's getting what he wanted on Friday.
Cool. Trump
doesn't answer. They prearranged it that there would be no questions from the media. Putin probably said no questions. Trump was all on board with that. And the MAGA morons out there for years were criticizing Joe Biden for not doing enough press conferences and answering questions. But the most important press conference, arguably, of Donald Trump's presidency was Friday, and he didn't take any questions because he's a coward. He's coddling to an evil dictator. It's despicable. It's disgusting. And I don't know how anybody out there can still support Donald Trump. I give them the opportunity to call in and tell me how. They're scared to, but it's just, I don't understand how you can support this man. They're trying to put pressure on Zelensky right now, but these NATO leaders will not allow it to happen.
Brian, if you had predicted some of the huge things that have happened, like the Twin Towers, I would have said, if you predicted that 2 years earlier, before it happened, I would have said, I don't think it's going to happen, but it's maybe 100 to 1. But if you had said to me, an American president will get down on his knees and do the dirty on a Russian dictator, I would have said there's zero chance. No American president would ever debase himself the way that guy did. Clapping. He clapped him as he got off the plane. Was he clapping?
Yeah, I saw that.
What are you clapping?
Yeah,
for?
that was
you piece of you know what?
It's despicable. I don't even understand.
Mass murderer. He's clapping.
It's terrible.
I don't get it. I don't get it. How there's even a level of tolerance for any American, MAGA or not.
I think
for
Donald
an American
Trump,
president getting down.
Donald Trump is the weakest president we've ever had. He is the weakest president we've ever
by
had.
a million miles.
He has no backbone. He has no plan. He gives in to Putin in every aspect. It's going to continue to happen in Washington, D.C. today. I do not think. Now, listen, even if Zelensky, let's just say, backs down, even if Zelensky decides to do that, which I don't think he will, by the way, even if Zelensky does that, who's to say that Putin is going to invade Poland or Taiwan? Who's to say that he will keep his word on anything? He never has in the past. You can't negotiate with this guy. He's proven that over time. He's proven it.
It's like Chamberlain, isn't it? Here is the paper. It's as worthwhile. It's as worthless as that. This guy's word. He wants one thing. He wants conquest. He doesn't care. Well, if he wanted peace, all you've got to do, mate, is get out of bloody Ukraine. That's easy. You went in there, reverse back.
I agree with you.
That's the end of that, isn't it?
I agree with you 150%, Paul. It's always great to hear from you from the UK. I appreciate the call. All right, let's go to Mohammed. Mohammed is next up on PTL. Hello, Mohammed.
Hey, how are you, sir?
Good.
All right. So here's my, I guess, challenge with the topic and your position is, so why do you feel like we as the United States get to dictate to the rest of the world what the resolution should be? We're just brokering the meeting and trying to get to an end or a ceasefire, end of to the war.
When did I say
we don't
that?
Need to agree.
When did I?
No,
when did I say that?
You're saying that we're okay. I'm not saying that that's your exact words. Here's what I'm saying: that the United States is somehow capitulating and giving Russia everything they wanted. That's not the case. You have two countries at war, right? One of them's going to have to agree to something, and the other one's going to have to agree to something. We're just middling ourselves to help broker a ceasefire.
Okay, so hold on. You think
we don't get to tell? Well, hold on. Let me finish my point, though. So we don't get to tell Putin, here's what you're going to get, and you're going to give back territory, and you're going to peel back. He doesn't need to agree with us on anything. He doesn't even need to agree to an end of the war. At least he's agreed to talks. That in itself is an accomplishment. But you're so hell-bent on Donald Trump.
Wait, hold on a second. All right. Okay, now I'm going to speak.
You give him credit for nothing.
Now I'm going to speak. You think I should give Donald Trump credit, and you sound like a Trump supporter, by the way. You think I should give Donald Trump credit for rolling out the red carpet for Vladimir Putin. No sanctions on Russia. He's the one who campaigned on the war is going to end in 24 hours. You MAGA supporters seem to have Alzheimer's. You must be forgetful in the bunker, Mohammed. But Donald Trump is the guy who said he would end the war in 24 hours. We're now in month 7 of Donald Trump's administration. And you think that I should give Donald Trump credit for getting absolutely nothing accomplished on Friday, but rolling out the red carpet for an evil dictator, not answering questions, not taking questions from members of the media, coddling to Vladimir Putin. And you think I should sit here and give credit to Donald Trump? Did you give credit to Joe Biden when he met with Putin and he stood up to Putin and he called him a dictator?
I gave him all the credit in the world.
Please. I don't believe
that.
that.
Starting on his watch.
I don't believe that. You give him. Okay, so what did Biden do? So what did Biden do to start this war? Tell me, Mohammed. What did he do?
Well, actually, he did nothing because he wasn't really the president.
Okay.
He really wasn't the president.
That's not an answer, Mohammed. That's a nice trying to bow out. You just blamed Joe. You just blamed Joe Biden for this war.
I'm asking, being an invalid, yeah.
What did he do?
Basically, he was an invalid, and he was sitting at the head of the free world and not doing anything, and letting people around him run the country and make decisions.
And what evidence?
Give pardons and do all the other shit.
And what evidence do you have that he did nothing?
What evidence do you have that he did something?
Well, I could say that he didn't give.
Nothing.
Here's what I'll. No, it's not. No, it's not. Here's what I'll tell you. What Joe Biden. Joe Biden didn't send Vladimir Putin COVID test kits in the middle of COVID. Joe Biden never blamed Zelensky for this war. Joe Biden didn't call Vladimir Zelensky a dictator. Joe Biden is the guy that didn't praise Vladimir Putin and call him smart and call him intelligent. Joe Biden isn't the guy that said Zelensky, it's up to him to end this war, to give up land.
Okay, who brokered, and I don't even give Donald Trump the credit. I give Marco Rubio the credit.
For what?
Really. But
for what?
I'm about to tell you who got him on a plane and got him to come and at least talk about what it's going to take to bring peace. Was that Trump and his administration?
So you think that's a positive to roll out the red carpet and get nothing in return? You think that's a good thing?
Listen, so what did it cost us to roll out the red carpet? Are we talking about peace?
Do you understand?
Are we moving towards hopefully peace?
Do you understand?
Or are we just
let me explain to you. Let me explain to you what I'm talking about. First of all, this has nothing to do right now with cost. The conversation we're having. People like you attacked Barack Obama for giving a quick head nod bow to members in Saudi Arabia. Do you remember that? All the criticism that
who's bringing up Obama? Nobody.
I'm bringing it up. The reason why I'm bringing it up is because you want to praise. Imagine for a moment if Joe Biden imagine for a moment, because you won't criticize Donald Trump. Imagine if Barack Obama or Joe Biden invited Vladimir Putin and rolled out the red carpet for him in America and didn't answer any questions in a press conference and then put all the pressure on our allies and Zelensky. You would be screaming to high heaven, and Fox News would be criticizing Obama or Biden till the cows come home. But somehow we're supposed to give him a Nobel Peace Prize? Muhammad, you sound ridiculous.
That's not. Nobody mentioned a Nobel Peace Prize.
Oh yes, yes. Plenty of people have on the right. Yes, they have.
Well, I have it, and
including Benjamin Netanyahu.
You're just throwing extra wood on the fire unnecessarily at this point. What I'm saying to you is, there is progress. Whether it's enough for you or not, there is progress. But you are so deluded in your thinking that everything Trump does is so bad. It's not necessarily.
What has he done good?
Trump.
What has he done good?
He brought Putin to the U.S.
He rolled out, and what did we get out of that? And what did we get?
How to bring peace.
And how did that work out?
It's only been one meeting.
I thought he could end the war in 24 hours. I thought he could end the war in 24 hours. Has it been 24 hours?
Oh, again. You're taking. Did he bluster and throw out remarks that were clearly unrealistic? Yes. I'm not saying he didn't. What I am saying to you is he is at least moved the ball forward.
How?
To some degree by getting him to come and let's at least understand what it's going to take to bring peace. What are your expectations?
And you know what that is? You want me to give Donald Trump credit for basically giving in to Putin and Putin demanding Crimea.
What did he give him? Did he give him anything?
I'll tell you. I'll tell you.
Get back on the
Putin walked away.
I'm going to get everything I want.
Putin walked away happy. You want to know why? Because Russia's not being punished for this. Putin's not being punished for this. And they're going to get what they want ultimately, which is land that they don't own.
You don't know that.
Oh, really? You think Putin's just going to, so you think the war is just going to end and Putin's going to wave the white flag? Are you crazy? Are you crazy?
Nobody said that. You're putting words in my mouth.
So what are the sanctions? What are the sanctions on Russia? Name me one.
Nothing has been determined
Nothing.
Yet.
It's right, exactly. But you want to give him credit for doing absolutely nothing.
Okay. Here's what they do have. They have directly from Putin, here's what my expectations are. Now they're going to go to Zelensky and say, here's what Zelensky is then going to say, here's what's acceptable and here's what is not.
Mohammed,
and then they're going to try to broker somewhere in the middle.
Stop. Mohammed, who do you want to win this war? Mohammed, who do you want to win this war?
Nobody is going to win because it's a war. There's
Mohammed,
no such thing as winning.
Mohammed, who do you want? Yeah, not true.
All lost.
Who do you want to win?
How many Russians have died, Brian? How many Russians have died?
For you to say that they all lost.
How many? Okay, forget.
If Vladimir, hold on a second.
You refuse to answer anybody else's question.
Hold on a second.
How many Russians?
You just said nobody can win this war. If Vladimir Putin ends up taking over Ukraine, you don't think that's a win?
Not what I said. Correction. That's not what I said. I said no one wins in war.
That's not true.
Nobody's going to win.
That's not true. 100% wrong.
How many Russians have died?
I'm going to be. It doesn't matter. The point I'm trying to make here.
It does because you're trying to make it.
No.
Putin is going to win.
Why did Putin invade?
He's not going to win.
Why did Putin invade Ukraine?
Because he wants territory and he wants.
And if he gets territory, that are
going to benefit Russia.
And if he does, and if he gets territory, you don't think that's a win for Vladimir Putin?
I do. You think it's a win?
There you go. Hey, ding, 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 ding. There you go. Have a nice day, Muhammad. No, you blew it. Have a nice day. You just made my point for me, Muhammad, who obviously is a MAGA supporter. Vladimir Putin, now I'm going to speak very slowly and distinctly for my MAGA friends out there. Vladimir Putin invaded Ukraine. It's a win for Vladimir Putin if he gets land that doesn't or isn't owned by Russia. Muhammad just admitted that. That's why I say we, and I mean we by the United States, Ukraine, and all these NATO allies, need to make sure that Putin doesn't win this war. Why? It's dangerous for the world. Why is it dangerous for the world? Because if Putin is rewarded in any way, shape, or form for withdrawing troops and ending the war, he will then do it somewhere else. Could be Poland, could be Taiwan. That's why we have to make sure that Russia doesn't win this war. Why is that so hard for people like you to understand? Muhammad, stop watching your Newsmax and OAN and pay attention. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's go to Tina. Tina is next up on PTL. Hey, Tina, what's going on?
Hi. I just wanted to call and tell you how sickened I am by what Trump is saying and doing. Mm-hmm. I can't take him anymore. And I'm so glad that I have you to listen to, because
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, he is, when he speaks, and I've just have it on TV, but I'm reading it. He talks about his tariffs. He talks about Putin's going to want this too.
How about today? Did you see him laughing when he joked about if there's a war, there'll be no elections? We're talking about Zelensky there, and he laughed and he said, "I kind of like that." Who's to say that Donald Trump? Who's to say that Donald Trump doesn't get us into an ill-advised war in 3 years and he doesn't leave office? He's that crazy.
Oh my God, I know he is. And you know what? He doesn't belong at this table. He just doesn't fit with these leaders.
You know where he belongs? He belongs at the table in Alligator Alcatraz, locked up. That's
exactly.
I appreciate you, my dear, and I appreciate you calling in. Thank you so much. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Again, that number, MAGA supporters, welcome to debate me. 702-221-SAVE. Let's go to X. X is next up on PTL. Hello, X.
Hello, Brian, what I wanted to ask you was, have you ever debated Dinesh D'Souza before?
I'm sorry, can you...
Would you like to have him on your show?
Who?
Dinesh.
I don't know who you're saying. Oh, Dinesh D'Souza. I have requested to have him on. The man has no credibility. Do you think Dinesh has credibility?
I say he has a dubious personality. Dubious.
Okay, but he spreads conspiracy theories and misinformation, doesn't he? Doesn't he?
I mean, he's a troubled man, in my opinion.
Does he not throw out conspiracies and lies and disinformation? X, does he not do that? What was 2,000 Mules?
I don't think so.
What was 2,000 Mules? Was that a factually based documentary? Why can't you say no?
Okay, I guess I'm not sure because I never.
What do you mean you're not sure? He's one of those people that said the 2020 election was stolen. That's a lie. He spread propaganda. That's a lie. Joe Biden won the 2020 election. Then he was sued in a courtroom and he lost. And he had to admit that there were things in there that were not true. Why do I want somebody to come on my show that just spreads conspiracy theories and lies 24/7? He's a despicable human being.
What about Alex Marlow from Breitbart?
I mean, listen, we can go through names of people you think I want on the program, my friend. I appreciate that. But you're trying to normalize Dinesh D'Souza, and I'm not going to do that. 2,000 Mules was a farce. It was full of lies and conspiracy theories. He was sued in civil court and he lost because he defamed people and he lied. The 2020 election was not stolen, even though Donald Trump still said today in the press conference with Zelensky right there, where so many innocent women and children are losing their lives, and he still talked about how the 2020 election was rigged. He still said that with Vladimir Putin on Friday. And now we want to take advice on elections from Vladimir Putin, and now Donald Trump wants to do away with mail-in ballots? This man is a dictator. Make no mistake about it. Donald Trump is a wannabe Vladimir Putin, and it should anger all of you. And if it doesn't, please tell me why. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's see here. Let's go to Mark. Mark is next on PTL. Hi, Mark.
Hey, Brian. Yes, Putin did win. Imagine the United States rolling out a red carpet for an international war criminal.
Yeah.
Imagine the international war riding in the presidential beast vehicle, smiling and waving.
He did do that.
Just imagine that.
Yep.
Now, so all you ignorant MAGA retards out there that Putin and Zelensky should iron things out. No, there's no ironing out. Putin needs to leave. And let me give you an example. All right, I'm going to go back to World War II. And a lot of you idiots don't realize that the U.S. was invaded. A U.S. territory was taken over by the Japanese. And that territory was called Wake Island. From the beginning of World War II to the end of World War II, they held that island. That was a U.S. territory. How about if we rolled out the red carpet for the Emperor of Japan and pleaded with him to please give up Wake Island, and in return, we'll give you a couple of states on our mainland.
Mark, I'll even take it a step further. Imagine, Donald Trump would probably want to roll out the red carpet for Viktor Orban. Donald Trump, can you imagine rolling out the red carpet for somebody like Assad or Kim Jong-un? I wouldn't put it past Donald Trump to do stuff like that. He's a very deranged and dangerous man. What we saw on Friday in Alaska should anger all of us. What we saw on Friday was an embarrassment. We have an evil dictator that the red carpet was rolled out for. And Vladimir Putin was coddled. He got exactly what he wanted. And what he wanted and what he wants is the pressure put back on Zelensky with no repercussions. That's exactly, make no mistake about it, what took place on Friday. And that's what's going on today. That's the deal. 702-221-7283 is the number to call if you would like to be a part of the conversation. And again, that number, if you do want to be a part of the show, MAGA supporter or not, I'd like to hear from you. Do you think Donald Trump is doing a good job? Do you think he deserves the Nobel Peace Prize? 702-221-7283. Let's go to David. David is next on PTL. Hi, David.
Hey, Brian. Can you hear me?
Yes, go right ahead.
Oh, thank you. So in terms of this, Russia-Ukraine war, what happens exactly when Ukraine finally runs out of men?
What makes you think Ukraine's going to run out of men first?
Well, I mean, they're facing a severe manpower shortage, and they're basically forcing people to fight in the military because they just don't have enough men to keep this war going. Putin's lost something like a million men.
If we put troops on the ground, and if NATO world leaders, and I'm beginning to think that could happen, where world leaders in NATO will also help with their troops, and we put troops on the ground, that will not happen. And that could be being negotiated right now. In fact, even Donald Trump alluded to that today in the press conference, that, that's a possibility.
Would you support that?
I would rather do that than allow Vladimir Putin to take over Ukraine and win. Yes, I would.
Okay, so just to be clear, you would support us just having a full-scale war, boots on the ground against Russia?
If that is the only alternative, and the other alternative is, as you said, which I don't think will happen, but as you said, the scenario of Ukraine running out of troops and not having any troops left, which would mean that they would have to raise the white flag if that did happen, and Putin would take over the country. Yes, I would say this is a threat to the world. Yes, I would say we put boots on the ground. I mean, Donald Trump was threatening putting boots on the ground in Gaza. Donald Trump was threatening putting boots on the ground in Greenland. Yes, I would support.
Those are completely different scenarios than fighting
I understand that, but I wonder if you had a problem
with thousands of nukes.
David, I understand that, but I'm wondering if you had a problem with Donald Trump threatening to put boots on the ground in Greenland. What happens?
I did. Yeah.
Okay, good. So do I. What happens? Let me now ask you. What happens if, in fact, Ukraine does run out of troops, sadly? And I'm not saying that's going to happen, but hypothetically speaking, what would happen if that did happen? What do you think would happen, David?
Well, first of all, I think if the war goes on, it's pretty much inevitable because Ukraine, just numbers-wise, they don't have the numbers to continue this war against Russia.
David, hear me out.
I'm just saying in terms of Ukraine.
Okay, but David, hear me out, though. That's not my question. I understand that's your opinion.
Yeah, I understand.
Okay, my question is, if hypothetically speaking, and I'm not saying I'm not saying I agree with you, but just hear me out, David. If that does happen, what you're describing, which I think we both hope doesn't happen, but if that does happen, what do you think would happen next?
If you're saying if Ukraine did run out of troops?
Yes.
Well, then Russia would basically just win the war and they could take whatever they wanted from Ukraine.
So you would rather that happen than us put boots on the ground?
Yeah, I would. Then us put boots on the ground, absolutely, because I don't want us to get into another 20-year war. I was born in 1993, and my country, the U.S. has been in war more or less my entire life. Just pick any place on the map, really, David, and we've just been in war. It's completely
David,
absurd.
here's where
all I've known is war.
David, here's why I disagree with you. If Russia wins, and a win would be taking over Ukraine, taking over most of Ukraine, anything of that nature, and as you say, Ukraine runs out of troops. You're making it seem like it ends there. And the point that I am trying to make, and this is the main reason why I disagree with you, is Putin is a madman. He's crazy. He's not going to stop there. Who knows?
See that? Well, that's where I just fundamentally disagree. I mean, I'm not saying that it couldn't be possible. What I'm saying is, you look at Russia, and Russia in the last couple years has shown to the world they're not nearly as powerful as they wanted people to think. I mean, Ukraine, Ukraine's received a lot of armaments and stuff from the world, but it hasn't received.
Okay, but hold on, David. Let's back up.
Russia still couldn't defeat them.
All right, David, let's back up a little bit here. So we obviously disagree on this, but this is where I'm flabbergasted. You're making the claim that Vladimir Putin, who has never told the truth, who clearly has no regard for human life, who wants to rule the world, okay, he's an evil dictator. We agree on that. You're making the case that he takes over Ukraine, hypothetically speaking, and then he just stops. I cannot believe you think that a madman like Putin would just say, okay, we've done our job. No more fighting, no more wars. I'm not going to take over any more countries. I fundamentally disagree with you on that. And that is the whole point of the danger of if Putin wins this war. What's next? That's why I disagree with you.
I understand that point of view. What I'm saying is I haven't seen any evidence that Putin is looking to take over all these other countries. He's had issues with Ukraine for over 10 years now, really more, but it's always been Russia and Ukraine, and Russia's obviously not right with their aggression, but I just don't see any significant evidence that he's going to then just start marching through Europe. And let's say even if he tried, he does not have the manpower to do that. He's lost 1 million soldiers, and to my knowledge, he has 1 million more. He's not as strong as he wants people to think. This war was ultimately pretty humiliating for him.
The problem is he doesn't care. He doesn't care about the loss of life.
But he does.
To assume that
I'm saying, but
you're assuming that it just stops. You're assuming that it just stops here. And by the way, how as the United States of America can we allow this to happen? How could the world leaders all over NATO allow this to happen? To allow an evil dictator to rule and take over our allies in another country? How can we allow this to happen?
Well, we haven't allowed it to happen. I mean, we've poured hundreds of billions into Ukraine to get them, because let's be honest here, no country wants to actually put boots on the ground to fight Russia. They don't want to do that. Yeah, they'll send money or they'll send weapons, but they don't want to put their own men. And I don't want to put my own, people of my own country. I don't want them to do that to protect Ukraine. I think it's Europe's problem.
Okay, so let me ask you another question.
More than enough.
So let me ask you another question. Then you don't want to put our people in Ukraine to defend our allies when you have an evil dictator that is trying to take over a country, but you're totally okay with putting our people, for lack of a better term, in Washington, D.C. and L.A.? I'm just curious.
I'm sorry, I'm not following.
You're not following.
What do you mean?
Okay, so deployment, whether that be troops, the National Guard, you don't want troops being sent to Ukraine when an evil dictator is a threat to the world and a threat to the United States. You don't want to put troops on the ground in Ukraine to defend our allies, but are you totally okay with our troops and the National Guard being sent out to Washington, D.C. and L.A.? Are you okay with that?
Well, because internal problems are much more a threat to the U.S. than external problems. Again, that's Europe's war. It's Europe's
Okay, so let me get this right. Okay, hold on.
Going in the U.S.
David, I just want to get you clearly on this because I am once again flabbergasted. 2 or 3 blocks of some unruly people in L.A. where the local law enforcement officials said, we got it, we can handle it, we don't need your help. But you're defending sending the National Guard to L.A. when 2 or 3 blocks, 2 or 3 blocks of L.A. Hold on a second.
It doesn't matter if it's 1 block. Because Trump needs to show these people that there's been riots have been going on for years since the Black Lives Matter.
So you care about the message.
David,
let me ask you a question. You care about the message that our president sends if there's a riot, if there's violence, right? We would agree. Is that what you're trying to say? You care about a message.
Well, I see where you're
going. No. Hey, please. Okay. So if that's the message, then what was the message when Donald Trump decided to pardon a bunch of January 6th insurrectionists who beat police officers? Can you please tell me what that message was when he called them patriots and hostages? What was the message? Tell me.
Yeah.
What was the message?
The message wasn't. Yeah, the message was in terms of the violent people. It was completely hypocritical for him to let those people out, and I disagree with it.
Okay,
I never agreed with that.
So you care about the message
from the whole Ukraine.
No, no.
I mean, is
you
the
just
message
said
not important? Is that not significant?
you
It's
just
not the
said
only factor.
You just said you're okay with sending a message if there's one block in LA where there's some hoodlums in LA that are throwing some rocks. And you don't think local law enforcement?
Because hold on a second. Hold on a second. It's an ongoing issue.
Oh, and you don't think the war in Ukraine is
and
you don't think the war in Ukraine is an ongoing issue? Do you not agree with that?
Yes, and look, and we've done more than we really should have to. We've given hundreds of billions. At what point does it end? And by your own admission, you're totally fine with us going into a full-scale war with Russia, where they have thousands of nuclear weapons.
David, first of all, you're defending the deployment of troops for one block in the United States when local law enforcement can handle it. You're totally okay with that. You're totally okay with that if Donald Trump sends a message, the same guy who said you're hostages and patriots, those people on January 6th. And now you're saying no troops on the ground in Ukraine are allies, where Vladimir Putin, you're claiming Vladimir Putin is not as much of a threat to the United States of America if he takes over our allies in Ukraine than a block of people in LA that are throwing some rocks.
Two separate issues with two separate
You're right. There are two separate issues. One issue is not a threat to the world, not a threat to the country, maybe a threat to 10 or 20 people on a block in LA. And then another person is a threat to the world. How do you not see the difference?
Well, let me ask you this. On the other side of that, what's the end result? What could it lead to if we go into a full-scale war with Russia? Do you have any idea how dangerous that could be to protect Ukraine?
But you're okay with sending in troops to Washington, D.C., and you don't understand how dangerous that is. You don't understand that.
Well, I'm pretty sure regular people in Washington, D.C. who are rioting are not going to launch nuclear weapons at us. Russia, I don't know.
But then why did he send, then if there's no nuclear weapons involved, then why did he send troops into D.C. then? And why are you defending that? Why is he sending troops into L.A.? Why are you defending that? You care so much about the message. Guess what? The nuclear weapons that we should be afraid of, I agree with you, is from Russia. But the bottom line here is once Vladimir Putin...
And what do you think happens when we go into full-scale war with
I'm going to tell you, what do you think happens when he takes over Ukraine? You think he's just going to stop there, dude? That's insane.
I do. And look, the reason I say that is because, again, I'm not saying it's impossible for him to not invade other countries, but, I mean, do you disagree with me when I say that his military is clearly severely weakened, that it's not nearly as strong as he wanted people to think that it is? He simply doesn't have the ability. See, people like to compare this to World War II, and that was a different scenario. Germany was much stronger than a weakened Europe.
Then if
Europe
he's that,
right now,
then if
united,
So then if he's that weak, as you are claiming to say,
well, do you disagree he's that weak? I want to know.
If in fact he is that weak, then why is Donald Trump kissing his ass? Why are they rolling out the red carpet for him? Why have there been no sanctions? Why? Why has he not punished Vladimir Putin?
Well, I mean, there has been sanctions under Biden, and they really didn't do that much. I mean, Biden said the sanctions were going to end this war effectively from choking Russia, and that didn't work. And I'm not trying to just make it about Biden. I'm saying sanctions only do so much.
No, but I will say
I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying sanctions don't do as much as you think they do.
Well, David, we're going to have to agree to disagree. I appreciate you calling in, but here's the bottom line. You are basically saying deploy troops. If a block in LA, there are a bunch of protesters, some that are, in the middle of the street, you're totally okay with deploying troops into LA. But if, and you're making a big if here, that Ukraine runs out of artillery, they run out of troops, you don't think we should put troops on the ground in Ukraine and we should let an evil dictator take over Ukraine. And your thinking is, well, it'll just stop there. Let them take over Ukraine. You're making it sound like a bunch of hippies in LA, some who committed some crimes, right, who threw rocks at agents, which I don't condone, but you're making the case that that's more dangerous to the United States of America than Vladimir Putin. I'm sorry, David, that's ridiculous. YouTube super chat. Lori says, Brian, the other countries are watching, like China that wants to take over other countries. Says his ego is going to destroy the world. I agree with you, Lori. That's my point. And that's the point I was trying to make to David. If you want to battle me, you can call in 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Again, that number 702-221-SAVE. We're obviously talking about Ukraine and Russia. We're talking about what's happening in D.C. today. Let's go to Deborah. Deborah is next up on PTL. Hi, Deborah.
Hey. Okay. I was trying to stay on subject, but I really have a question and I need an answer. Nothing to do with this, but is ISIS being funded by our pensions and our Social Security. I mean, is ISIS being funded by our money that I've worked so goddamn hard for? I know it has nothing to do with what you're talking about now. I just wanted to get a clear answer.
Well, you're talking about our tax dollars going to these agents that are basically kidnapping immigrants. And I would tell you that that's certainly not where my tax dollars, I want my tax dollars to go. So I would certainly start with that argument. I would say number two, our brave men and women in uniform and our National Guard are not trained as well to be going into DC and be going to LA to deal with local crime. That is be dealt with by local law enforcement. And the reason why you deploy the National Guard is when local law enforcement can't handle it. Every single sign that we have seen, every single sign shows that the crime in DC has gone way down, upwards of 30%. So the fact that David would call in and defend that and defend the fact that our National Guard deployed into DC. But if Vladimir Putin takes over Ukraine, we don't call in the National Guard there. The idea that that is less of a threat to the world and to the United States than a couple unruly people at a protest is beyond me, and it's ridiculous. I appreciate the call, Deborah. Thank you. 702-221-7283. If you are a Trump supporter, you are welcome to call into this radio show right now and tell me if you think Trump is doing a good job. Tell me if you think he's doing a good job. What do you think is going on with Zelensky and all these leaders of NATO right now? What do you think is going on? You think what happened on Friday is a good thing for the United States rolling out the red carpet for an evil dictator? I don't think so. Number to call again if you want to be a part of the conversation is 702-221-7283. Let's go to Kevin on line one. Kevin is next up on PTL. Hey, Kevin, what's going on?
And I admire you for the energy that you use to deal with these toothless MAGAs, and my hat's off to you.
Thank you.
But I want to remind these silly MAGAs that why Vladimir Putin was in Alaska, they were still launching, Russia was still launching missiles in the Ukraine at the time,
right.
And it's still continuing.
That's a good point.
All it was theater, and that's all that Trump is. And the thing about that's sad is that our pedophile in chief has sided with two war criminals, Netanyahu and Putin. They're both war criminals. And Brian, do you think these two war criminals will ever be brought to justice, either one of them?
No, I don't think there's any chance.
You know, I'm embarrassed to be an American. I mean, we have actually enabled two war criminals.
Well, you know what would have been great? It would have been a great day for the country and the world if Vladimir Putin was put in handcuffs and put in a 4x4 cell in the United States of America for the rest of his life.
I'm not going to disagree with that, Brian.
It would have sent a message to the world. It would have sent a message to people like Kim Jong-un. It would have sent a message to, world leaders that take advantage of the United States. It would have said, if you are going to F around with our allies and you are going to start an ill-advised war and innocent children and women are going to lose their life, we are going to get you. And
Brian,
it would have sent, and I would have given Trump all the credit in the world. As much as I don't like him, I would have said, great job, Mr. President. I can finally stand side by side with you on something. I would have given him all the credit in the world. But it was the opposite of that.
Brian, going back to all of the theater of the National Guard or ICE and these in LA and all this other stuff, all it is owning the libs. That's all they want to do. They don't care that they lost their Social Security. They don't care that they're losing their health care. They don't care that they're losing their jobs, these MAGAs. It's all about destroying government, which Trump has done. That's what they've always wanted, is dismantle and destroy government, which they have done.
Do you think we're headed towards martial law?
Yes, I do. I think Trump will do anything to stay in power. I think that he's floating the idea of running for 2028 just to own the libs, and that's all it is. And I talked to you last week about who's leading the Democratic Party, and we are basically we are floating on the water with 10 people with one life preserver. I mean, we're literally holding on to the last flotation device barely. And I just don't think there's putting toothpaste back in the tube. I think even if Trump left tomorrow, okay, the damage that this pedophile has done to this country, to our judicial system, to our Supreme Court, which we always knew was corrupt, I mean, the bottom line is he has immunity. He can do whatever he wants.
That's what's scary.
That's the scary part.
You're right.
How are we going to stop this pedophile? We can have a video of him with
I know. I've said this. I've said this before. You know, there could be videos of Donald Trump committing horrible atrocities and crimes, and many in the MAGA cult would still support him. I've said that, my friend. I really do appreciate your call, and I agree with you. Thank you so much. Again, if you disagree with me, I see so many comments on social media platforms that we're on, whether it be YouTube, which is, by the way, at PTL Radio Show on YouTube. I see so many people on social media that are disagreeing with me, calling me a liberal, but yet they don't have the guts to be able to call into a national radio show and give their thoughts. But they can type. That's kind of like Donald Trump holding a quote-unquote press conference, but not taking any questions from the media. No wonder why you guys like Donald Trump so much. You're just like him. You're cowards. 702-221-7283, the number to call. Let's go to Steve. Steve is next up on PTL. What's up, Steve?
Hi, Brian.
Hi.
Hey, the first show that I turned on today was the Midas Touch, and the very first video that I saw was a Russian tank going through Ukraine with an American flag on it.
I saw that. Yeah, I saw that. How disgraceful, huh? How disgraceful.
I called my I called my senator, Capito. Of course, you don't get to talk to them, but I was pissed.
Yeah, that was disgraceful.
She should.
Would that have happened under Joe Biden? They always seem to say this wouldn't have happened under Joe Biden. That wouldn't have happened. You know, that the war wouldn't have happened. I tell you, would these Russian tanks have American flags under Joe Biden? I don't think that would have happened.
No, it wouldn't have. No.
But, you know, they want to focus. They want to focus on it's Joe Biden's war. Donald Trump says, I'm going to get in there and I'm going to end this war within 24 hours. But every single excuse he makes, this is all Joe Biden's fault. That's all Joe Biden's fault. This crime is Joe Biden's fault. It's all on Joe Biden. Yet Donald Trump invites Vladimir Putin with a red carpet onto American soil and kisses his ass. And I guarantee you, if Obama or Joe Biden did anything like that, we'd be hearing about it for years and years. But they're totally okay with it if Orange Man does it. It's ridiculous.
Well, another thing, too, Brian, is all these maggots that call in and say, well, what did Putin get out of this? Well, he got credibility. And he knows that Trump is on his side.
You're right. And to be honest with you, sir, that's what makes this situation even more dangerous. You're right. The fact that Donald Trump invited Vladimir Putin on American soil and they coddled one another, and that Donald Trump is using Putin as a source for why he believes he won the 2020 election. You're right. To the crazies out there, it does give Putin some credibility. That is also dangerous. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Terry. Terry's next up on PTL. What's up, Terry?
Hey, Brian. Good afternoon.
Hi.
I just had to take another half of a beta blocker pill after watching Trump today.
Yeah.
The guy, Dave, that called you, Dave, I recommend you go get a book about something called global security. A lot of information out there about that, what it means, how important it is. Trump's behavior today was disgusting and disgraceful. No red carpet for Zelensky. He spent too much time with airing his grievances and then started talking about, you know, the Biden blame game and started talking about mail-in ballots, crime in D.C., rigged elections, saying he won the 2024 election by a landslide. I felt like he was stepping all over Zelensky. And
he always does that. He always
does that.
It doesn't matter what world leader, unless you're Vladimir Putin and Putin says, I don't want to take any questions. All these other world leaders, he steps on their toes. He doesn't stop talking about everything else but the actual question, you know, and he starts talking about mail-in ballots. He starts talking about the 2020 election. He starts talking about everything else other than the fact that he coddled Vladimir Putin on Friday, and now he's trying to put pressure on Zelensky. It's absurd.
It absolutely is. And it is a good thing that European envoy came to support Zelensky today. I'm so glad that they came with him. I thought that was a great idea. Thanks for taking my call,
Thank you.
Brian.
Thank you, my dear. I appreciate it. We go to the YouTube super chat. Haranuga says, someone had helped Taco back in the days. Payback time came and it's very pricey. Well, he certainly is Taco Trump, and he certainly looked like that on Friday, and he certainly is looking like that today. I just think with all these NATO allies of ours and world leaders in NATO in that room. If Zelensky was in that room alone, Trump and Putin might get what they want. But I do believe with all these world leaders in that room, I actually believe that it's not going to go the way Trump hopes it's going to go. And I think in the end, he's going to have to be forced to not side with Vladimir Putin. Now, I hope I'm right on this one. If I'm wrong, we're in a lot of trouble. The world is in a lot of trouble. Ukraine's in a lot of trouble. 702-221-7283 is the number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation. All right, let's see here. Who are we going to next? Let's go to Shelly. Shelly's next on PTL. Hi, Shelly.
Hey, Brian. A few things, and I'll hang up, and you can just go on.
Okay.
There is no other president, U.S. president, ever that would have done that. Rolled out the red carpet with the military on their knees. Never, ever done that. It was propaganda for Putin. That's all it was. And legitimacy for Putin.
Oh, I agree.
And he has something on Trump. I don't know what it is. It has to be bad. But he has something.
Can I ask you something? I'm not saying, Shelley, that I disagree with you, but I think it also is the fact it could be that he just looks up to evil dictators.
Oh, absolutely.
Because
I agree.
Isn't his body language and the way he talks about Kim Jong-un almost the exact same?
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
And did you see his body language after they had their little meeting?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he was hunched over.
It was like they were dating. It was like a first date.
Well, Trump was hunched over and Putin was up smiling. And there is no other U.S. president that would let him ride in the beast.
Donald Trump shows more affection to Vladimir Putin than I've seen husband and wives that have been married for decades. I mean, I really...
Well, look at Melania.
Yeah,
but,
that's true. That's true. Oh, and then Melania writes this letter as if that's going to change Vladimir Putin's mind. Oh, Melania, you're such a hero. You had somebody on Trump's staff write a letter to Putin, say, Vladdy, stop it. Wow, Melania, why don't we give her the Nobel Peace Prize too? It's such a freaking joke. We're learning now in this room that Donald Trump apparently wants to call Vladimir Putin right now with European leaders on the line, according to Sky News. I don't know if that's true or not. That's according to Sky News. We'll see if that's true. I'm telling you, I don't think Putin is going to raise the white flag. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's go to Virginia. Let's go to Linda. Linda in Virginia. Hi, Linda. What's going on?
Hey, it's my first time calling. I'm excited. I love your show. I found you like 2 weeks ago, and I've been addicted morning, noon, and night.
Thank you.
I just want to say thank you for having this platform, for actually going in unapologetically on everything stupid regarding the MAGA cult. I just feel like these people are very unserious. I think America itself is in trouble because it's full of just ignorant people. And they're basking in their ignorance. They're embracing their conscientious stupidity to the point where their hate combined with their mediocrity is aligning with Trump. Who would align with Trump if they're not like Trump? Low IQ, pseudo-intellectual, sociopath, poor character, amoral. We have a country full of these type of people. So for millions of people to align themselves with this village idiot, this fake person, this ignorant, unserious, poorly educated through an Ivy League institution, which he just got pushed through on daddy's money. And then we now know he's a pedophile. We know he's a child predator. We know he's been a child.
Well, we know that for sure. He's been a predator in every aspect of it, and with money.
Yeah, he's a predator on women. He's a predator on the government. He's just a pariah. This man is just a cancer on the planet. He's a dangerous.
I've said that.
Sociopath.
I've said that for years. And I appreciate your call, my dear, and thank you for finding the show and call back anytime. You made a lot of good points there. He is a sociopath. He is mentally ill. You know, all these MAGA Republicans want to talk about how Biden was in the bunker and he had cognitive decline. We are dealing with the current president of the United States, who is a sociopath, who is mentally ill, who is deranged. And yes, I'm going to say this out loud. If you still support Donald Trump, you have Trump derangement syndrome, not me. So I suggest you take your Donald Trump knee pads off and understand the damage that he is not just doing to the United States of America, but to the world. 702-221-7283, the number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation. Let's go to Cheryl. Cheryl is next on PTL. Hi, Cheryl.
Hi, Brian. Thanks for taking my call.
You're very low. There you go. Okay.
Oh, okay. I have 2 points that I wanted to make. He started off a meeting saying that he stopped 6 wars himself.
Yeah, which wars is he talking about, by the way? Help me understand that. What war did he start?
Congo was one of them. But he said this was the last one. Does he not know that Israel is still fighting?
I don't think he does. I don't think there's a lot of things that Donald Trump knows. He thinks that there's probably peace in the Middle East. I don't know. He might think that.
And Marco Rubio sat in the background with a little smirk on his face. And why doesn't anyone fact check him on that?
Little Marco. Yeah, little Marco. Marco Rubio, the guy who once said if Donald Trump didn't have all this money that his father gave him, he'd be selling fake gold watches in Manhattan. And this is the guy he decided to work for. So, I mean, these people have zero credibility. They are despicable human beings. What the way they've treated Zelensky is embarrassing, quite frankly. You have Marjorie Taylor Greene's idiot boyfriend asking a bunch of stupid questions today again. He was the same guy who mocked Zelensky for not wearing a suit. And then today, Zelensky made the point, you're wearing the same suit you wore last time. I have a different outfit. But it's just so ridiculous that we have all these problems all over the world. And the best question that these right-wing idiots can ask is about what somebody is wearing. Or I know you had Peter Doocy. I like to call him Peter Douchey today, who again asked questions that are absurd and ridiculous, making it seem like Zelensky's the bad guy. And he's not. He's not.
Right. Can I make a second point about Melania?
Yeah, please do.
Why doesn't she write a letter to her husband telling him about the immigrant children that are being separated from their parents?
Yeah, that's a really good point.
You know?
Melania doesn't talk about a lot of real issues, but then again, Melania Trump is the woman who says, I don't care, do you? So, you know, we shouldn't be surprised about Melania Trump. So President Trump, apparently this is breaking news. He was just caught on a hot mic telling Emmanuel Macron that Putin wants to make a deal for Trump. I mean, it's amazing to me that Donald Trump is that gullible. And as I say before, and I say again, this is Putin's puppet. Donald Trump on a hot mic telling Macron that he believes Putin wants to make a deal for him. Is Donald Trump that naive? Are his supporters that naive? Are you kidding me? We go back to the YouTube super chat. And by the way, the number to call is 702-221-SAVE. MAGA supporter, you want to battle it out with me? Let's do it on the air. 702-221-7283. Shelly in the YouTube super chat says, MAGA morons that believe Putin will stop at Ukraine are wrong. He will go after Poland and the Baltic states, and who knows? I agree. I mean, people don't seem to understand how dangerous this is, not just for the United States, Shelley, but for the entire world. If Putin wins this war, and make no mistake about it, if he owns even a part of Ukraine, he wins this war. You have all these innocent people that have lost their lives, and Putin gets what he wants. Ukraine not allowed to enter NATO, and he gets Crimea, for example, maybe more. That is dangerous for the world, and it sets a horrible precedent. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. If you would like to be a part of the conversation, let's go to Jeff. Jeff is next up on PTL. Hey, Jeff.
Hey, how are you doing?
Good.
Yeah, my issue here is that I think the Democratic and DNC needs to run ads, you know, because remember when Trump said that he's going to be dictator on day one, right? Remember that?
Yep.
Yep, and he's pretty much been that since day one. He's been dictator. He hasn't backed away from that. So they need to run ads. They need to run that ad of him saying he'll be dictator on day one throughout whatever media they can get into. I mean, I don't even know if they can get to ABC or CBS anymore. You know what I mean? The DNC running
So
ads.
he
I don't
did.
know if they
He
can
did
do
say
anymore.
that, and then he would tell you, he was just being sarcastic and he was just joking, just like all the times when he ran for president and he said he was going to end the war in 24 hours. He was sarcastic, just like when he said Mexico is going to pay for the wall. I guess he was just being sarcastic. The lies continue to be up in layers, but boy, isn't that mesmerizing, my friend, that Donald Trump was just caught on a hot mic to Macron saying he believes Putin wants to make a deal for Trump. Yeah, I'm sure Putin wants to make a deal for Trump, and he's not looking out for himself. Give me a break. Can Trump be that stupid? Trump is being played by this man every single day. And anybody who voted for this guy, who continues to support him, you are complicit and you are naive and very ill-informed. 702-221-7283 is the number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation. Let's go to Albert. Albert is next up on PTL. We've lost Albert. Let's go to Brian. Brian is next up on PTL. Hi, Brian. What's going on?
Hi, Brian. I'm here in Las Vegas right now. I'm between Lindell and Sahar. And I've been listening into your show for quite some time. Really, really love your show. You're a breath of fresh air.
Thank you. I do appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I know. I hear all of your MAGA these MAGA supporters calling into your show. They are absolutely bonkers. Holy moly. I've never heard such delusion.
Well, there are a lot of ill-informed people out there. There are a lot of people that are delusional. Maybe some of their brains work the same way Donald Trump's brain worked. But at the same time, these are the people that got this evil man into office. And I can guarantee you that if Kamala Harris had won, or any Democrat for that matter, they wouldn't have rolled out the red carpet for Putin, and they wouldn't be siding with Putin. If you remember, Joe Biden called him a dictator soon after they met. And I'd rather have somebody stand up to these horrible people than somebody like Trump, who continues to get played by Vladimir Putin, continues to get played, my friend. And it's so embarrassing.
What I think is funny is that, some of these people who claim to be down the middle when it comes to politics and say that they are for both sides, neither Democrat or Republican, still echo the talking points from Fox News, Newsmax, OAN, Rumble, and all of these far-right podcasts, like No Name Podcasts.
I agree with you.
I
agree with you. All these far-right shows and the Charlie Kirks of the world, they spew misinformation and hate. I couldn't agree with you more, my friend, and I do appreciate you being part of the show. Thank you for calling in. All right, let's go to Mark. He's a Trump supporter. Hi, Mark. Where are you calling from?
Calling from fabulous Las Vegas.
All right, Mark. Thanks for calling in. Where am I wrong, Mark? Tell me.
Oh boy, first, I'm going to say I've been listening to you for quite a long time. My very first call. You push me to the edge every time I listen to you.
Okay, so give me a reason. Just give me one thing that we.
Well, I want to tell you with all respect, you should be kissing Trump's testicles.
Okay, so Mark, we're either gonna we're either gonna have a conversation and you're gonna answer my questions and tell me what you disagree with, or you're gonna make stupid statements like that and we're not gonna get anywhere. Mark, I'd like to have a conversation with you. So let's start this over. Mark, are you there? Mark?
Yes,
are you going to listen? You saying that I should kiss a body part of Trump is not going to get us anywhere, okay? I'm not going to respond to that. If you'd like to have a conversation...
Okay, no need, but I didn't want you to respond.
Mark, where do you disagree with me on? You said I put you over the edge. Where do you...
every day.
Give me an example. What do you...
I'll be glad to.
Thank you. Please do.
Our president, our current president, is so talented.
Well, yeah, okay, that's not what we disagree on. You don't need to praise the orange man, okay? If you're not going to answer, Mike, I'm talking about give me something I've said on the air that you disagree with, okay? This isn't, if you think Donald Trump is a great guy, I could care less. I choose not to support 34-count felons and liable abusers. But let me ask you a question, sir, since you won't answer any of my questions, but I'll try. I mean, this is an easy one. Do you have any kids? Do you have a daughter? Do you have a daughter? Do you have any kids?
Yes, I have a daughter.
Okay, gotcha.
A daughter. She graduated UNLV number one in her class.
I'm glad to hear that,
I'm
sir.
very proud of her.
Okay, so let me ask you this, sir. When she was 13 or 14 years old, if a guy went into her locker room and saw her dressing half naked, is that somebody that you could see supporting as president one day?
If he was the greatest president that ever was.
Okay, so let me get this right. Let me get this right. Let me get this right. You're saying that you would still possibly vote for a man to be the leader of the free world, even if he went for sexual purposes and went into your daughter's locker room while she was changing. That is ridiculous, sir. I don't even know how we can continue this conversation. I wanted to ask you that. I don't even know how we can. Did you listen to what this guy just said? You just said that if Donald Trump, without any permission, was staring at your daughter half naked when she was 13 or 14 years old, there's still a chance that you would vote for him. Do you realize how insane you sound, sir?
Sir, the fact that he may be out of line with his sexual
No. That is not out of line. Out of line is when you maybe are rude to somebody. Out of line is when you interrupt somebody. It's not out of line when you go and look at 14 and 13-year-old girls naked for sexual reasons. Do you understand the difference between something that is out of line and something that is disgusting? And you're telling me that you would defend it and be like, well, he was out of line, but I would still support him. What does it take, sir? What does it take, sir, for you to admit that Donald Trump is a predator? What does it take for you to admit? What does he have to do for you to admit? In fact, I'll even take, what does it take, sir, for you? What does it take? Tell me.
Well,
answer me. Tell me. What does it take?
I'm trying to think of.
You're trying to think.
As articulate as you.
No, you're definitely not. We agree on that. We agree on that. You're definitely not as articulate as I am. You're right about that. If Donald Trump doesn't lie and say that the 2020 election was stolen, does January 6th happen? Yes or no?
It did happen.
No, that's okay. That's not my question. Can you answer? Are you even capable of answering a question? I'm going to answer it.
I agree with you.
Okay, no.
You asked if January 6th happened. I said yes, it did.
Okay,
and it was
so you're willing to admit that January 6th happened because of Donald Trump's lies and rhetoric. You're also willing to admit that yes, Donald Trump has gone into teenage locker rooms, but you know what? I'd still vote for him because I call that out of order. You know, he was out of order. He was off the line.
Excuse me, you have to let me talk. Because he has the ability to navigate this country.
And how is he doing that? How is he doing that?
Terrible times.
How is he
doing it?
Yeah.
Well, did you see him in the White House today?
Did I see him in the White House today?
Do you think Joe Biden could sit there with those other leaders?
He has. He has. Joe Biden has. He met with Vladimir Putin. He has. No. How did he fail? How did he fail? How did he fail? How did he fail? Tell me how he failed policies. Okay. Who did? Who did the? Tell me this, sir. Who put together the infrastructure bill, the bill that Donald Trump said that he would put together? Who put that bill together, bipartisan?
The infrastructure bill.
Yeah, who put it together? Who did it?
A row of beans. It's a stick of beans.
Oh, it's a stick of beans. If Joe Biden does it, it's a stick of beans. Okay. Who's the one who said he'd build a wall and Mexico's going to pay for it? Who did that? Who said they were going to do that and didn't do it?
Donald said that. Donald said that.
Did Mexico pay for a wall? Did Mexico pay for a wall? Did Mexico pay for the wall? Did Mexico pay for the wall? Shut up and listen. Did Mexico pay for the wall? Yes or no? Answer the question.
Answer my question.
No. It's my show, not yours. You don't tell me what to do. This is how we have a conversation. You've already wasted 5 minutes of my airtime. He did not build a wall. You like immigration, right? You like Donald Trump's immigration policy. Are you okay with people around the country, most of whom are non-violent criminals, that are being kidnapped and detained by people that are not even identifying themselves as agents with no due process? Are you okay with that, sir? Do you not believe in our Constitution?
I'm okay with anything that he does as long as he continues to do the fabulous job he's been doing for the last.
So you don't care what he does, including going into teenage women's locker rooms without their permission. You're totally okay with sexual abuse. You're totally okay with him being a liable abuser. You're totally okay with him committing 34 felonies and being convicted of that. You're totally okay with him stealing classified documents and defying a subpoena for a year. You're totally okay with all of this stuff. Attacking POWs, saying you didn't respect McCain because he was captured. Tariffs on all these other countries when the American consumer has to pay for it. You're totally okay for the biggest tax cuts for the top 1% in American history. You're totally okay with that because this man, Mark thinks, quote, He's doing a good job. Mark, do you realize how ridiculous you are? Do you realize how ignorant
No,
you sound?
do you realize how ridiculous you are?
Yeah, have a nice day, you clown. Mark has a daughter, and I feel so bad for Mark's daughter. God love her. I feel so horrible for her because now I'm going to make this personal. Mark in Las Vegas has a daughter who graduated from UNLV. And Mark just admitted to me on a national show that if Donald Trump went into her locker room without her permission when she was 13 or 14 years old, looking at her in a sexual manner when she was half naked, and her daughter would have been traumatized from something like that, Mark says he would still vote for Donald Trump. Ladies and gentlemen, this is how despicable some of these people are. Mark, you're despicable, and you're an embarrassment to the country. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Herb. Herb is next up on PTL. Hello, Herb.
Brian, take a deep breath, because what I'm going to say to you, you probably won't care, but I'm going to make this comment, and then I'm going to hang up.
Why are you going to hang up? No, Herb, here's what we're going to do, okay? We're going to have a conversation. You're not going to make a comment and hang up. If you make a comment and then you hang up, then we're not going to have conversations anymore. I'll let you make your comment, no problem. But you're going to hang on the line. We're not going to hang up on you, and we're going to have a conversation. And after you make your comment, I'm going to respond to it. That's the way a radio show works, and that's the way a conversation works. So, Herb, if you can agree to that, you're welcome to make your comment, and I will not interrupt you.
Okay, Brian.
Do we have a contract?
Let me just say
do we have a verbal?
What I'm gonna say.
Do we have a verbal contract there? Is that fair?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
thank you.
Do.
Then go right ahead.
Brian, listen to me and listen to me closely. I'm concerned about you. I know you take calls every day, but man, people call in and you get upset with them, you disagree with them, and I'm not saying this is my perspective. I'm not a doctor.
Oh, okay.
But Brian, I'm concerned. I'm just concerned that one day they're going to say you had a nervous breakdown.
I don't care. Well, Herb, here's the thing, right?
Okay, well that's fine. I know you don't care.
Can I
but
respond?
What I'm saying to you
Can
is
I respond?
I'm concerned about you,
Herb.
and
Herb.
I'm not gonna contribute to your health failure.
Okay. So Herb, you're making me laugh. So Herb, you're making me laugh. Now let me respond to what you just said. Herb, first of all, I'll respond by saying, I love it when people like you call into this show. It makes
yeah.
I love it. Number one, I love having good spirited debates. I enjoy it. So you're wrong about that, but I appreciate your concern. Number two, Herb, I'm going to say I'm concerned about people like you. And you're not going to like what I'm about to say, Herb. I'm going to go the way you went. You're not going to like what I'm about to say, but I will let you respond, and I'm not going to hang up on you. Herb, I'm concerned about people like you. People like you that are ill-informed, that think Donald Trump is doing a good job. Mm-hmm. People like you that think Donald Trump is a good man who has good policy, and you think America is headed in the right direction. People like you that are brainwashed, that watch Newsmax or OAN or Fox News and think you always know what you're talking about, when the reality of the situation is you have no idea what you're talking about. So, Herb, here's what I would ask of you. Don't be concerned about me. Brian's going to be just fine. Be concerned about yourself and the fact that you are so ill-informed and uneducated, and every single time you call into the show, you embarrass yourself.
Okay. Well, I embarrass yourself in your opinion, but Brian,
many others too. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, that's fine too. Yep. You know, they don't agree with me, just like I don't agree with them.
Yeah.
But bottom line is that I don't want to contribute to your health. I can hear them calling in one day and saying Brian had a nervous breakdown, so on, so on. I don't want to hear that, man. I disagree with you, but I like you. I don't have nothing against you. I wish you would go to sports and leave politics alone. I really do.
Well, it's a good thing for me. It's a good thing for me, Herb, that you're not my boss and you don't tell me what content I can talk about, because if I did, I would have a fraction of the listeners that I do have. Herb, I do appreciate your concern as a MAGA supporter. I appreciate the fact that you are so concerned about me, but I've got some bad news for you, Herb. I'm going to continue to embarrass and educate people like you every day, and there's nothing you can do about it. But I do appreciate your concern, Herb. I think all of my listeners are very concerned about people like you as well. Stop watching Newsmax. Get the MAGA wax out of your ears. Educate yourself. Inform yourself. And do that until you lose your Medicaid, until you lose your health care benefits, until you lose any benefits that you have. Because, Herb, I don't want that to happen to you. Just like you said you're concerned about me, even though you're a MAGA supporter, Herb, and I think you're very ill-informed, I don't want you to lose your benefits. I don't want you to lose your life. I want you to live a happy life. So the reality, Herb, I'm concerned about people like you. But I do appreciate your concern. But I got some bad news for you, Herb. I'm not changing what I do. I could have 100 Herbs call me in a row, and I would welcome it. I'm not changing what I do for you, and I'm certainly not changing what I do for any MAGA supporter. It ain't happening, Herb. 702-221-7283 is the number to call if you would like to be a part of the conversation. All right, let's see. Who are we going to next year? Let's go to Rolf. He's calling in from Germany. Hello, Rolf.
Yes. Hi, Brian. I just wanted to pop in a quick thought about this discussion here with Putin, Alaska, and the general, how shall I put it, embarrassment that America got and the win Putin got. You know, I don't think so. Maybe you guys can continue discussing this. I think most of us who are looking out from, abroad on this can see that this was all a farce from the beginning to the end.
Yeah.
And the credibility of Putin I don't think has gained much. And
what do people in Germany what do people in Germany think about Putin and Trump? Like, can you give me some insight there? I'm just curious.
What do we think? Things are changing a bit. The tide is turning. But this is also due to the fact that a lot of TV stations, which also, did cast on YouTube, partly had their program there, have deactivated comments, which were, mostly overrun by Russian trolls.
Right.
And it's the general way of thinking is turning a bit. People are beginning to realize, a lot of them, that have been, somewhat duped, and they are just, more pro-Ukraine now than they used to be months ago.
Yeah. No, I think you make a lot of valid points there, my friend. And, I tend to agree with you. I don't think Putin's gained any credibility in the last several days. In fact, I think if anything worse. So Rolf, I completely agree with you. You sound like an intelligent guy. I can only imagine people out there in Germany that call into this show, what they think of Donald Trump and how America could have voted in a clown like this guy. Rolf, I really can't seem to grasp that. What part of Germany do you live in, sir?
South.
Oh, okay.
The very south end.
Let me ask you a very sensitive question.
Mm-hmm.
And forgive me for asking this, but I do think it's an important question to ask. When you hear some people, and I'm not saying I'm one of those people, but when you hear some people compare Donald Trump to Mustache Man, I think you know who I'm referring to. I'm not going to say his name.
Mm-hmm.
How does that make you feel when some people in this country compare Donald Trump to that evil man from Germany?
That's right. That's
really?
Correct.
So you're okay with that?
Yes. Oh yeah. No questions asked. Well, I mean, basically, just look how he's acting now. It's right according to the NSDAP, the Nazi Bible. It is so. Yes. There was this interview once, and it was claimed that he had Mein Kampf, as a bedside reader. I bet you that's where he got it from.
It's interesting what you're saying, because there are a lot of people, not everybody, but there are a lot of people in the United States, even Bill Maher, who said, Larry David calling Donald Trump the Mustache Man, for lack of a better term, is going way too far. So you're saying, as a man who lives in Germany, you're saying it's not going too far, that it's okay to compare Donald Trump to Mustache Man.
Oh, what's happening right now over on your side in the States, that is exactly what happened to us in 1933. Mm-hmm. Exactly the same thing. Your eyes, those are our brown shirts, the SR.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's exactly 1-to-1 the same.
You know what, sir?
Like
I'm starting not to disagree with you. You know, I think you make some valid points there. I think where this country is headed, it is a dictatorship. It is an oligarchy.
You guys are headed into very, very dark times if you don't do something very soon. I
agree.
I agree.
I appreciate I appreciate your perspective, my friend, calling from Germany. I really do, and I think you bring some interesting insight. And you know, I'll ask you one more question before I let you go, if that's okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah. For the people out there who think comparing Donald Trump to the evil dictator mustache man, for the people that out there that think that it's a stretch, you're somebody who lives in Germany. Talk to them and tell them why you disagree with them.
Do you mean me talking to the MAGA?
For the people, for anybody, MAGA or anybody out there that say there's no comparison between Donald Trump and Adolf, what would you what would you say to them?
Well, what would I say there? I mean, it speaks for itself. But I mean, we don't have Fox News here, so there's one dumbed down factor which is which we don't have. For example, you know, and you know, that's where part of the brainwashing is already missing, and the people can you know, basically see the facts as they are, as they stand in the history books. And I you know, if I do that comparison, you know, nobody's going to argue with me here.
Right.
Very much.
No, listen, I'm not going to argue with you, my friend. Listen, you sound like a really smart guy, and I think it takes courage to be in Germany and to say that, you know what, that comparison is fair. And I certainly take your opinion over a lot of these MAGA cultists in the United States of America. That's for sure. Here's what we know for sure. Donald Trump is a dictator, and Donald Trump is running an oligarchy, and he looks up to evil dictators like Putin and Kim Jong-un. So what you're saying makes sense to me. YouTube super chat. By the way, thank you for the call, sir. YouTube super chat. Lori says, Brian, the Trump administration left classified documents in a printer in a hotel in Alaska. By the way, I did hear about that and didn't make it a big deal about it. Yeah, you're right. They are incompetent fools. And that story did come out over the weekend that classified documents were left in a printer in a hotel in Alaska. How absurd. Imagine if Barack Obama or Joe Biden did something like that. JD says, if it walks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, it has dementia. I would hope you're talking about somebody by the name of Donald J. Trump. 702-221-7283, the number to call. The MAGA destroyer, Darlene, is next. What's up, Darlene?
Oh, my goodness. Brian. Okay. Can I say something to Herb, please?
Sure.
Herb, now listen. I'm worried about you, and let me tell you the reason why. How can you sit there and worry about Brian's mental stability when you worship a man? What about his mental stability? Herb, seriously, how can you worry about Brian, but you're not worried about Trump? I want that answer, please.
You know what?
Sorry,
if he has the guts to call back in, which I'm not sure he does, but if he has the guts to call back in, then I will ask him that question for you, Darlene. Sound fair, my dear?
Yeah.
All right. Well,
but one more thing, Brian.
Yep.
One more thing. Yep. I want to say something to Muhammad. Well, I have so many of them I can say it, but I'll just keep it short.
Okay.
I want to say something to Muhammad. You know what's funny, Brian? My husband, he's off work today, and we're sitting here right before when Muhammad called. I turned around to my husband and I said, get ready, because this guy's called him before, and he is the most stupidest idiot out there. And once again, Muhammad, you proved us right.
Thank you, Darlene, for the phone call. He did. I appreciate you. 702-221-7283, the number to call. Dink, or no, is that right? Am I reading that right? Dink is next up on PTL. Hello, Dink.
Hi there. How are you?
Hi, good. What's on your mind today?
Hey, you know, I'm looking at the comments on the side over here, and I'm saying nobody has brought it up that 158 years ago, I believe 1867, we bought Alaska from Russia.
Yeah.
And where did they have this meeting? In Alaska.
That's true.
Where did Trump think he was going? to Russia. Remember when he first said where he was going?
He doesn't know where he is. He said he thought
doesn't even know where he's at.
But Joe Biden's the one with dementia, but Donald Trump is the guy that says you need ID to buy bread, and Jeb Bush got us into the war in Iraq, and he defeated Barack
I love
Obama.
the story of the 3 apples and the old lady, and she had to go put one back in the refrigerator.
Hey, did you
ever buy an apple out of a refrigerator? Not.
Did you see the way Donald Trump was walking on that red carpet? Did you see his walk?
They sped it up, and he looked like Charlie Chaplin.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. He looked like an orange version of Charlie Chaplin.
An idiot. Well, he is, if the shoe fits. But anyway, my point is, I've seen several different YouTube videos because I'm in all these. I never get to talk because they won't let me. I have to create a channel. I don't know how to do that. But anyway, no, he's. There are billboards all over Russia. Alaska is ours.
Well, that's for damn sure. Alaska is ours. It's certainly not Sarah Palin's because she's another imbecile. All right, so we had Darlene who called in who wanted to ask Herb a question. Herb did call back into the show, and I will make an exception to give Herb an opportunity to respond. Go ahead, Herb.
No, I'm responding. You said you were going to ask me if I call back in. What did you want to ask me?
Well, that was Darlene's question.
Okay, Darlene said that I question your mental acuity, your mental state. I said nothing about your mental state. I talked about your physical state.
What's wrong with my physical state?
About you having a heart attack or a nervous breakdown, Brian. Had nothing to do with mental. If you disagree with me and I disagree with you, that's fine.
I have some bad news for you, Herb.
I
have some bad news for you. My cholesterol is very low.
Good.
My blood pressure is actually quite well. I have a lot of wonderful friends. Thank God they're not MAGA, but I have a lot of good friends in Las Vegas. I have a lovely, I won't give out too much information, but I have a lovely woman that I've been dating, and I admire her very much. And things are very, very well. But I think the best thing about my life is none of my close friends are Trump supporters.
Okay, but that's fine, Brian.
Yeah.
Bottom line is that, look, I don't know you other than this radio show, and you don't know me. I don't want to see anything bad to happen to you. People are going to disagree. You think I'm stupid? I may think you're stupid. Bottom line is that I don't want you to get, have a problem with your physical health or nothing like that.
But can I ask you a question? Herb? I appreciate that. So if you're a man of empathy and you don't want anything bad to happen to me and you want my health to be good, then why wouldn't you feel the same way about nonviolent people that have lived in this country for decades that don't have the right paperwork, that are being separated from their families and get sent to, alligator Alcatraz, where people are getting beaten, and having to in the El Salvador prison where people are being tortured. If you care about somebody, then why would you be okay with that?
There's a lot of things that I'm concerned about. I'm concerned about the fact that over the last 4 years when Biden was president, he lifted the gates with tractors.
That wasn't what I just asked you. Herb, why can't you address what I asked you? You're not answering my question. Herb,
we don't know who they are. They got to go. Bottom line is, I'm not here to argue with you.
Herb, it wasn't an argument. I asked you a question. The reason why I interrupt is because you don't answer the question. You bring up Joe Biden. So I'm going to ask the same question again. And I need you to pay attention to the question, and hopefully you can answer the question. Okay. You didn't answer the question. All you said in general terms was, I'm, quote, concerned about a lot of things. That wasn't the question. You said you're concerned about my health. Okay, great. I appreciate you being concerned about my health.
I know what you're saying, Brian.
Okay. I'm asking you about people in this country that are not getting due process, many of whom are non-violent criminals that are being separated from their families, treated like dogs, okay, that are being sent to El Salvador.
Treated like dogs how? How are they treated like
I will
dogs?
explain it to you, and I guess this is the problem because you clearly are not informed. We have multiple witnesses and people that were in the El Salvador prison, including Mr. Garcia, who said they were forced to be beaten and they had to sleep on their knees. There were maggots on their food. In the alligator Alcatraz, we were told the same thing, that these people are being tortured. And we've learned that. Oh, wait. So you mean to tell me, hold on. So you mean to tell me that all of these families and all of these people that were in these facilities are all lying and it's all a conspiracy? Is that what you're saying, Herb? And Herb hangs up the phone. You see, ladies and gentlemen, it is impossible to have a conversation with somebody like Herb because he can't answer a question directly. He claims that he cares about somebody like me, but if you're an undocumented immigrant that has been living in this country for decades, that has a family, in some instances breastfeeding their 1-year-old daughter, that are nonviolent criminals, that have families here, that even pay taxes, he's totally okay with those people being sent to concentration camps. Notice how he didn't want to answer that question. And then he claims he thinks that, these facilities like the El Salvador prison and Alligator Alcatraz are like, a motel or a hotel or a resort. Oh no, that couldn't be happening there. It's ridiculous. 702-221-7283 is the number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation. Who are we going to next here? Let's go to Paul. Paul is next up on PTL. Or actually, we're going to go to Alan. I was just told Alan. Alan is on line 1. Hello, Alan is calling from Switzerland. Hi, Alan.
Hi, Brian. How are things?
Good. Thanks for calling in. How's Switzerland over there?
Switzerland is great, but you can't believe the reaction of the Swiss people to the tariffs they put in place. 39%.
How do you guys feel about that? How do you feel about that?
Terrible. This is the number one problem. You hear from everyone. He has alienated the complete European market. The people are saying we're going to boycott American goods. The way they've treated Europe is a disgrace. But going back to the German guy that was on a couple of minutes ago, could you imagine if Churchill had put out the red carpet for Hitler, the mustache guy?
It would have been chaos. You're absolutely correct. It would have been chaos. And I wanted to go back.
Churchill would have lost all credibility.
Of course he would have. But there are so many people in the United States of America that are brainwashed and ill-informed. It's insane. So what is your feeling of
when
people?
It's a wake-up call for the state.
It should be.
I mean, I studied in Cornell University, upstate New York. I lived all my life. I worked for American companies. Lived all my life here in Europe. And we had such respect for the American way of life. That was really something we wanted to copy here in Europe. Today, it's reversed 100%.
Yeah.
The people don't understand how on earth can you, a guy of his low intellectual level, who can't even articulate himself, who is superficial in everything he says. He talks about himself as everything you don't want your kids to be. He does it.
Can I ask you, sir? I agree with you. Can I ask you, do most people in Switzerland blame Donald Trump, or do they blame America?
Well, they blame Donald Trump, number one, but especially they blame the Americans. How can they can't understand the Americans who vote for somebody like that?
Yeah.
He's a disgrace to America. He's dragged the American dream through the dirt. It is the lowest of the lowest we have ever experienced coming from the States.
Yeah, I agree with you, my friend, and I'm embarrassed, and I appreciate your phone call calling from Switzerland. I think it's almost 11 p.m. there, so we appreciate you calling in from Switzerland. We get calls all over the world, and we appreciate all of you. Now let's go to Paul. Paul is next up on PTL. What's up, Paul?
Wow. Well, I don't think that Herb is an idiot. Herb is an idiot. It's not a question, okay? Secondly, can you imagine somebody breaking into your house, Brian, and the police come over and say, well, you really need to give the burglar part of your garage or maybe part of your backyard if you want the burglar to leave. You need to find common ground. Like, it's absolutely his base, Brian, his trailer park trash base, has no idea how anything works. They don't care if the country burns to the ground because they couldn't vote for the black woman. They don't understand, like, the USAID, the way that we treat other countries, the way we're alienated, the way we're tariffing them. They're going to stop using the US dollar. They literally are so stupid, people like Herb. They don't understand the damage that we're doing to our own standing on the world stage, Brian. They literally have no damn idea what he's doing. None.
And guess what, Paul? We've just learned that during these European negotiations in this meeting, Trump interrupted those negotiations and called his pal, Vladimir Putin. We've also learned that on a hot mic, Donald Trump told Macron that he felt like Putin wanted to make a deal for him, for Trump. I mean, this is just astonishing stupidity at the highest level.
You know what else is sad, Brian? In 1994, when we were trying to end the Cold War, we signed an agreement with Ukraine and the Baltic states that if they disarm their nuclear weapons, we would protect them. We signed an agreement to protect Ukraine, and now we have. You like John McCain, right? We might disagree on politics, but he was a decent human being, right?
Yeah, I think he was a little bit too much pro-war, but I don't think he was a horrible guy. I think he was a war hero.
Right. But I'm just trying to think of John McCain, who was a POW. He served his country honorably. He was a decent person. To see a convicted felon and a rapist and a child molester sitting in the White House, rolling out a red carpet, having our troops nailed down a red carpet for Vladimir Putin, who is literally murdering people in Ukraine. I mean, that's where we are, Brian. That is where we are.
Listen, Paul, I agree with you. This is where we are at. You're right, Paul. It absolutely is nuts. By the way, side note for you, Paul will be filling in for me the last Thursday and Friday this month. I'll be on vacation. So Leonard Cardinal will be co-hosting. Paul will be leading the way. So we certainly look forward to that as we go back to the YouTube super chat. Renega says, Taco said that he was asked for a license plate when he was at the voting booth. Well, that certainly doesn't surprise me one bit. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's go to Luck. Luck is next up on PTL. Hello, Luck.
Hey, first of all, oh my God, today was so busy that I just need to say, there's so many things I need to say, but I'm going to keep it straight with my original point.
Okay.
First of all, I hope you marry that girl because we need more children in the world with your point of view. All right. First of all, marry that girl. We need more children that are raised like you, Brian.
Well, that's nice of you to say. I appreciate that. Thank
you know what? It's like I've been listening for a half an hour. It's serious. We need more people like you in this world.
Well, I will say this: we need more less.
I'm not even trying to kiss your butt.
No,
bro.
I appreciate that. We need less Marjorie Taylor Greens and Lauren Boeberts and Kid Rocks. I will say that.
Yeah, but shout out Arby's roast beef sandwiches. That's whatever, man. It's good.
Arby's is good. I got no problem with Arby's.
Yeah,
hey, I appreciate your compliment. That does mean a lot. No kids for me in the coming future, and I don't have any kids as far as I know. But I do appreciate you, Luck, making that compliment. I really do. Let's go to Linda. Linda's next on PTL. What's up, Linda? Linda, if you can lower your radio, that'd be great. Do we have Linda there?
Brian?
Yes, please. If you could lower your radio, go right ahead.
Sorry. Yeah,
okay.
I'm sorry. I didn't realize you were.
Okay.
I was
Go right
a while. I just called to tell you that you are phenomenal.
Oh, thank you.
And that I don't know how I get through the day without listening to you. And I just want to know, seriously, this is what the world has come to, that I don't even watch the news anymore because they're picking what they want you to see. And just show it all or don't show it at all.
Agree.
In terms of Muhammad, David, Mark, and Herb, okay, if someone, sometimes you got to they're so simple that you just got to be simple with them, unfortunately.
Yeah, I agree.
Let's say I'm your neighbor and I decide I want some of your land. I'm just going to walk over there and take it. And I've got a big family and we're all fighting you. And let's just say that you're just going to give it up. This is what they expect Ukraine to do.
Yeah.
Just say, okay, it's yours. Ask them, Brian, the next caller you get that compares, this to we just need to end it. No, Are you okay with ending it if someone goes into your house and claims your property?
Of
I
course
don't know.
not.
I'm not okay with it.
Of course not, Linda. I'm not okay with it either. And you make a good point. And you also lead me to a public service announcement for me, if you don't mind, because I appreciate the comments.
Absolutely not.
I appreciate the comments you made to start this conversation. So people like Linda out there who love the show, and I love all of you, by the way. Without you guys, I wouldn't be able to be here. There are some things you could do to help us. You know, we're a independently owned radio station. So because we're an independently owned radio station, we rely on good people like you to support what we do. So because of that, I ask that you, all of you, go to my website, which is pushingthelimits.live. Again, that website is pushingthelimits.live, where you can make $5, $10, $20 donations, whatever it is. Make $5, $10, $20 donations. You could also buy merchandise on there. Obviously, in the YouTube Super Chat and joining my YouTube page is a big part of it as well. So that's a big part of what we do here, and we rely on good people like you to help support what we do. So check out that website on the bottom. Make any donations you can. Sign up for my YouTube page at PTL Radio Show. You can subscribe. Let's go to Dave. Dave is next up on PTL. Hi, Dave. What's going on?
What's up, Brian? Thanks for taking my call. No, the problem is with people is that these people are not picking up a book and reading about history. Let me teach a little bit about history, and I'll make it short and sweet. Have you heard people about the Gilded Age back in 1870 and 1900, which the American people were marked as incompetent? In other words, there was a lot of scandal. There was 3 social problems facing America during those days, which was what? Racial tension, economical equality, and political corruption. So you heard the old saying that, you know, history does repeat itself? That's where we're heading right now, to the 1870s, to the Gilded Age, folks. That's where we're going, when basically what politicians were catering to business interests and participating in the graft and bribery as we are today. So there's your problem, folks. And as far as I'm concerned with Ukraine, I'm going to throw something out to you to make you think. Ukraine didn't want to be part of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. They didn't want to be a part of that.
You're right.
So I'm just teaching some history, folks. They didn't want to be a part of that. And now they want to be a part of the National Treaty Organization, because you know why?
You're right.
Because they can get all the other countries to back them up in case there is a war.
I appreciate that. And you're absolutely right, my friend. We're up against the clock here. I want to try to get everybody in. I really do appreciate your statements there, and I agree with you. Let's go to Terry. Terry is next on PTL. Hi, Terry.
Hey, Brian. How you doing?
Good. What's on your mind?
Okay. I'm like, first of all, he is the epitome of distraction. Okay. He lies at everything that he does. This Putin, this crap, without Putin giving a ceasefire, there's no deal. There's not even a, it's just putting Putin out on the stage for the world to see with the red carpet. We had him in our sights. I know you don't agree to violence, but I think that we should have put one in his brain pan. And Putin's.
Let me tell you, sir, let me tell you something. I don't disagree with you. If we had an opportunity to take him out, just like Bill Clinton had an opportunity to take Osama bin Laden out before 9/11, should have taken that opportunity. Now, some will say, Brian, that could have started World War III. Maybe, maybe not. But I know that, we wouldn't be dealing with the crisis that we're dealing with in Ukraine right now, right?
And people would have applauded it, okay?
Yeah.
It would have set them free from that maniac, okay?
I agree.
And we would have exchanged one life for millions, okay?
Right.
That's the way I see it. Instead of rolling out a red carpet for him, he should have had something else, okay? Now, that's just my opinion, okay? And I don't agree with violence either, okay? But at some point or another, you even on like this radio show, I feel like that MAGAs have been so brainwashed by the Rush Limbaughs in the fucking world.
We got to watch the language, sir. We can't swear on this show, but I do appreciate your call. Thank you for calling. We'll take one more quick call. Who's the next caller? Leyland. Hi, Leyland. What's going on?
Hi, it's Leilani calling from Canada.
Hi, Leilani. What's on your mind today?
I just wanted to let you know I've been listening to your show for a few months now, and I love it.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. That means a lot. Thank you.
Your views align absolutely, totally with mine. And you know, Trump, he's a dictator. He's been a dictator, nasty criminal dictator for ever since. I recognized that in him. His first term when he came into power, I thought, this guy, he's a dictator. And I was right, like with what he's doing now. And I've studied a lot of Hitlerism, the Second World War, and exactly what's happening in the States now is exactly what Hitler did in World War II Germany. Like, it's just disgusting.
You're right. I'm sorry I'm up against the clock, my dear. I appreciate your comments, and thank you for listening to this show. And without people like you, I wouldn't be here. So thank you. Blue-Eyed Media on YouTube, Super Chat says, treason Trump rolled Vladimir the red carpet, not only because of the Epstein files, but he also is afraid Putin will release the PP tapes. Well, that could be true. That could be very true. I don't know if those tapes exist. Hey, listen, there's a reason why they call this show one of the most interactive shows around. We just took 2 hours straight of phone calls from all over the world. I'm going to try to do this on a regular basis. Doesn't mean we're going to change the format of the show completely. We're still going to play audio, and we're still going to have great guests joining us. But I want to make this show as interactive as possible, thanks to people like you out there. Check out my website, pushingthelimits.live, for anybody who wants to make a donation. I love you guys. We will be back at it tomorrow. The very funny and talented comedian Steve Hofstetter will be joining us on the show tomorrow. One of the hottest comics around, and boy, does he destroy MAGA. He'll be joining us on the show tomorrow. Have a great day, everybody.